Today we're looking basically on Zamfara and Kaduna states. At least 55 persons were reportedly killed in separate deadly attacks by bandits in 2 local government areas of Zamfara state last weekend. This, however, is not the first time the bandits have openly attacked communities and villages, killing residents and destroying properties. However, there have been reports of an alleged recruitment of locals by members of the Ansaru sect in small communities in Kaduna state. Daily Trust had exclusively reported that members of the terrorist group commenced massive recruitment of residents around communities in Gwari local government area of Kaduna state, adding that the terrorists distributed Salah gifts in the form of biscuits, performed motorcycle stunts to the delight of villagers, and distributed pamphlets, flash discs, and other accessories on the activities of the group. We are now to look into this. We have an American, a retired a security expert and retired U.S. Army Captain, Beach Johnson, to join us. He's joining us virtually. Good morning, Mr. Johnson, good morning. We have this, not necessarily new, but this sect in Kaduna state that is now, you know, trying to work its way into the minds of the people by making itself acceptable, and then that way it now finds the community is very habitable. What do you say to that?
Okay, it appears
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson's network is freezing.
It appears.
Yes,
Okay.
you can go ahead.
Please go ahead.
It looks like technical hitch there, but I think that video emerged on social media where some of these members of the Ansaru were performing those stunts,
yes,
using motorbikes, and also I think I saw a bottle of cokes being shared.
Yes, they shared
to the
biscuits.
local communities.
They shared biscuits, and they also shared their pamphlets, which contains their activities. You know what they tell the people, according to the Daily Trust exclusive report, was that they are not Boko Haram. So that's the first thing they tell them, even though they are a splinter group of the Boko Haram, but they tell the people, we are not Boko Haram, you know. And the most, the scary part of the thing is the fact that they tell the people that they are providing security for them, you know. The Daily Trust report even has it where some youth in that area are willing to join the group. And a particular guy said that he doesn't mind joining the group if only this group will protect him against bandits. Yes. He said that now he can, in fact, as it is at the moment, this group provides protection for some people in those communities to be able to go to their farms.
Wow.
Yes, exactly.
So complicating the issues further, isn't it?
Complicating the security situation
these are not,
in that place.
These are not state actors.
They are not, yes.
This is a sect of the Boko Haram itself. And so it's more like the criminal coming in another way.
What I see is a vacuum. They saw a vacuum of leadership and they stepped in. Because like some persons that spoke to the Daily Trust correspondents, they said, okay, the last time the bandits came here, these Ansaru people protected us against them. You know, so these people are now warming themselves into the hearts of the people around that area, and that is very dangerous because they are non-state actors. They have an agenda, whether we like it or not. You know, in fact, one expert that was spoken to in the Daily Trust report said that is how it usually starts. He even said that the Boko Haram started that way, that they come that way, warm themselves into the hearts of the people, and then after some time they begin to tax the people. They begin to, you know, show themselves for who they really are.
For who they really are. Well, all right, we'll take a look at some more on this, but shortly after this break. Please stay with us. All right, thank you for staying out. While we try to reconnect with Bish Johnson, we also have joining us via phone another security analyst who is Jonathan Onoja to also give us his own perspectives on this particular incident. So thank you for joining us, Jonathan, on Daybreak this morning. Hello? Hello, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
Okay, so thank you for joining us once again. Well, just a few days after we see this attack on the Zamfara community where over 50 people were said to have been killed, we are also seeing this splinter group of Boko Haram moving into some parts of Kaduna, and now where they are luring people into joining, you know, what they are doing in the guise of providing protection for them, you know, and also providing certain, you know, food items, things like biscuits, you know, Coke and the rest of them, doing some motorbike stunts, you know, in those villages. And it looks like, you know, the villagers were quite impressed with those things. And there's a concern there, isn't it?
Yes, there is a concern. If you ask me, I'll tell you that there's a concern. Worrisome one at that. We cannot continue doing the same thing, you know, and you expect a different result. Remember when we had the last incident around the Kaduna, there were informations that, you know, there's some persons in the numbers of motorcycles parading themselves into a particular forest, all intercepted. So you see, there is no intelligence gathering around this activity. And then they operate freely and went the ways. And 2 days back again, we are hearing the same stories. How people paraded themselves into a particular village, you know, large numbers of motorcycles, and, you know, begin to distribute items to people, or without even having their address. You know, going house to house, asking people, and then to, I think, in fact, there are no intelligence around the Kaduna ISIS. I must tell you that. It's a big concern, and unfortunately, the security and we're not doing anything about it.
Okay, but the thing is this, Mr. Noja, the thing is this Ansaru group has been in that area for a couple of years. So, is it that the security personnel are not aware of the presence of this group in that area?
No, this is meant by the statement of the Islamic guy, the Gumi of this world. I said, look, the military knows where they are. And we don't have any police officer or any authority or the army that have come out. So you know, so it's not actually they know where they are. They know where they are. You know, I think also a few days back, even one of the military guys was involved in the case of the banditry. So it's not actually they don't know where they are. It is because they are compromised.
All right.
They are compromised.
All right, Jonathan, from what I'm seeing here, it looks like it's even more than intelligence, it's more than even knowing about the location of these people. But there's a big question of ungoverned spaces that exist, you know, within, you know, some of these crisis-prone areas. We see a gap that the you know, Ansaru groups or the terrorists are trying to take advantage of, this gap of providing security. We know, you know, how certain places are just there. You hardly can see the presence of government there. You hardly can see the presence of security personnel there. So in this instance, what can we do to bridge that gap? There is a gap that exists. You know, our security officials can certainly not be everywhere in Nigeria, as it is right now. So, how can that be bridged?
I have often advised, and like I said in my last interference on your station, you remember I made it clear that security are having often time that it is in cycles, isn't it? And we will need actors that are what I told in this with each cycle to mitigate those challenges. Agreed. The security personnel cannot be everywhere. But where the ladies are concentrated, they are probably more part of security or part of the system. And when we talk about government, the government is what is UNI. So when you say the absence of government, it should be like the absence of human beings. There are no existence of human beings on those places. So it's not about
talking about administrative governance. I'm talking about, you know, you say, for instance, in a village, of course there should be councillors in different parts of those places, but how effective is the running of governance at that level? How many, say, for instance, police stations do we have? How many security posts? How many security posts do we have in some of these places?
The essence of community policy will come to be, because when you see that the natives will stand against certain things, when the natives begin to rise independent of their territory, they will have no other choice than to back them up. Like you said, in those villages or in those local wards, there are councillors too. And these councillors come part of the government, but you're telling me how effective it is. And that is why I said, it is not just about the village, it is just about the people who are living in those villages to form the consensus and at the same time to come up with a strong commission and say, this is what we want.
But they are almost helpless here. Let's not forget that these people are more like helpless, because it's not like they're armed. And some of these bandits and terrorists, they come heavily armed. So, you know, even because of fear, even out of fear, some of them can just chicken in and just say, well, you are highly welcome to our community. You can live, we can live with you side by side as long as you are not going to harm us. And in this case, they are even coming with a message of, you know, protection, coming with the message of, oh, we can protect you against bandits. that attack these communities. So you can see how dicey it is.
It is because few individuals living in those communities have colluded with those guys.
Well,
you talk about the value, you talk about the informants, it is the same leaders, the same people living in the same community.
Jonathan.
That are the informants. The informants
Jonathan.
from there or from wherever they're coming from. So because some individuals have compromised and then living in the society, they have got out to welcome those things. But if the society has decided, or the community decided to, take a strong position, they will have a backup of the government in full in essence. Because you see, the government we are looking at is the central government. And I also say that the government is not come from the center. And that's why I advise the government, even like in this publication, that it's time for us to centralize our very centralized security system. Then we have to bring in the case of community policing, not only the state police. Because now you said these people came with the message of hope, the message of protection, police people so they can stay. But I'm asking the question that these people that are talking to them, they are not fools. It is because some individuals are really compromised, and they know that very well that when the people say no, what they are going to see is not going to be easy on them. So they start, if even though the same way today, some people will be telling you that, look, we have been trying to avoid this, but they're just telling that brought people. That what have brought these people in. There was an informal program of right there to communicate this guy when to come in and when not to come in. And if you are not there to stay for too long, it will become very difficult for you to eliminate them because they will have acclimated themselves in the society that you cannot even do, you cannot even know who is who. So it is the best time it is now for government to intervene. And that's why I'm calling the state government. Not even the federal government, what is the state government? What is everybody doing about it?
Okay.
And then people ask people just what is everybody, the governor of Kaduna State, doing about this situation? What is he doing?
Okay, Jonathan, just hold your thoughts there. Let's also talk to Lami Sadiq. Lami Sadiq is the bureau chief of Kaduna State for the Daily Trust newspapers. Good morning, Lami. Join us on Daybreak this morning. The last person, the security expert we're speaking to, he said something. He said that the reason this Ansaru group is able to stay in that community and do the things that they are doing is because the people of that area are conniving and colluding with them. Can you speak to that? Okay, so.
All right. Well, let's get this, because if you say that the people in those communities are actually colluding with these bandits, it gives an impression as though the people are actually keying into the ideologies of what the Ansar group is saying, which may not necessarily be true, and it may not be fair to people who are actually living in those communities, but because they look around and they see that it looks like there is no option, and if I disagree, my life is in danger here. And
the Daily Trust story was, very clear on that. The people in that area have come under several attacks, and it's because of the lack of any other help that they decided to accept this. In fact, some of the people that spoke to the Daily Trust correspondent made that clear. They said that, okay, we have waited and waited and there's no help. So these people are telling us this. They're protecting us from bandits and they're allowing us to go to our farms. So that is why. In any case, it appears Lami is back now. Lami.
Yes, just hold Kaduna to speak on the matter before you come in. So you can go ahead, Lami.
Lami, please go ahead.
colluding with terrorists, but these are communities that, you don't find any government structure there, you don't have police stations there, you don't have community leaders as we know them to be in those communities. So these are people who have for years been subjugated, been attacked, been killed, been kidnapped, been forced to pay levies. These are non-state actors. And then these people, these members of Ansaru, are offering one commodity to them that is, we can say that one commodity that is very, very scarce. So if these people are offering protection, people in those communities feel the need to, align with them in order to protect them from the bandits. So I don't want to believe it's true that these people are colluding with Ansaru.
Okay, would you say that this is a case of abandonment in this instance?
Well, in this instance, you look at it as it may not have all the details as to why security agents have not been able to move into these communities, to move into the forest areas to sack these bandits. Because what people in those communities have been emphatic about is that security agencies need to move into these places. If they don't know where these bandits or these terrorists are, we know, and we can even direct them. So I think if you look at what the governor of Kaduna State has been saying, I think he has been projecting the minds of these people, saying that there is no way about it. What government needs to do is security agents need to move in there and bomb these forest areas. Birnin Gwari, particularly in Kaduna State, is one local government where we have
Okay. All right, well, we'll try to get Lami back to continue with her thoughts there. But Jonathan, if you are there, this has a semblance of the strategy that was used by Boko Haram in the northeast in the early days, especially in Borno State. Do you think that this is the same thing that is applying here? I said this story that we have, it has a semblance with what Boko Haram is doing in the northeast, particularly in Borno State, in the early days. So would you say that this is Boko Haram shifting its address to the northwestern and maybe trying to find a base in Kaduna State?
I thank you for your observation and then your views on the matter. And then what did they do? They locate, dominate, and they eliminate. Are you me?
Yes.
They locate, dominate, and eliminate. From 2 days from now, you will be seeing that kind of operation within those areas. So it is better you resist them at the point of entry than abating them. Abating them is at the danger of humanity. Abating them is tantamount to the destruction of the society. Abating them is as good as supporting banditry, terrorism, across the state. So this is the practice that they are bringing from foreign countries. They will locate, dominate, and eliminate. There is nobody in the same mind that wants to live with terrorists. There is no same mind that wants to live with bandits. There is no same mind that wants to live with the Boko Haram person.
Okay, now, what would be the best approach for government to be able to deal with this? Because it becomes complicated. It becomes, before you continue, let me say that before you continue that we've had this concern raised by the president some time ago, just a few weeks ago, about the complexity of this fight, in the sense that it becomes difficult to deal with the bandits, to go frontally and attack them, especially when they are mixed up with innocent Nigerians in some of these villages and in settings like this. So what would be the best approach for the government to deal with this?
Okay, let me tell you something. 2 days ago, there were dislodged from the Abuja Kaduna train pilots. Some persons were dislodged from those places. Illegal inhabitants, supposed to be Boko Haram members. And ethnic groups from other places that you see them coming to introduce themselves in society. So it can tell that it's a nearby location that they can dominate and the later they begin to eliminate. So like you are asking, it is not just about losing confidence in government. The best way to attack the government. If you allow them to come and stay with you now, I am telling you, you are rather investing in criminality, banditry, and terrorism, which does not belong in any country or any society in the world. So to me, it is not because they are afraid. Like I said, someone shows the location, someone who is well known in society, it is led out this group. And that is the person I'm going to bring them the new way to say, come in, it is my thing. We can go to our flag here, we can say, don't come and resist the arrangement, the over time, we can stop. So what I'm saying now is that the local government, the state government, and the federal government must do what is right at the matter of urgency to push out these guys now. Once they go after them, they will leave the good people and the bad people will run. I am telling you because for anyone that is bad, is guilty of what people are coming to do him already. So once he knows that people are coming for him or coming after him, he will leave. And I will play with the community not to, for any reason, against any kind of insecurity in them things now. Because they know it is detrimental, it is against their future, and it is against their progress as a people.
Okay, Mr. Onoja, but what the Daily Trust Bureau Chief is saying is that the people of that area are actually ready to provide information about this group to the security operatives. But what they are saying is that they don't even see the security operatives. According to what she said, there are no structures there, no police stations, nothing. So in that kind of instance, what would these people do?
You see, I have said it over, I'm going to reiterate it again, that where there are no institutions or government like the President of the Security, like our things, the men that can serve the purpose in the terms of community policy. Look, let me tell you something. I come from the village, and I spoke to the government of the village. I see people come in, people go that this is politics and this is time election is coming there and here and there. And you know what happened? Before you enter my community today, they will know your address, where are you going to? Where are you coming from? It does not cost anything. The people around in the market women, sometimes they won't get their food stamp, sometimes at the end of the month, some get 300, 200 naira, and you are 500 naira to support the security aspect of the community.
All right, just hold your thoughts, Onoja, hold your thoughts while we get our Bureau Chief in Kaduna, Lami Sadiq, to also weigh in on this. Now, Lami, if you are there and you can hear me, give us a sense of the structure, in those communities, the structure in terms of governance in those communities, local governments, and then, maybe the local government secretariat. Is there any information about the councillors in those places, or maybe the local government chairman on what they have done on their part in partnership with the state government to be able to, deal with this?
Okay, you see, Birmingham as it is as a local government area, you find that in the headquarters of Birmingham, which is the Birmingham town, you find normal activities going on there, but you find that we're having this challenge in some of those remote areas, like communities like
Okay, looks like we've lost
that,
Lami again.
Okay, Onoja, if you're there, please continue. You were talking about the fact that the people in that community have a role to play. Onoja? Yes, you were insisting that the people in that community have a huge role to play.
Yes.
Okay. Please continue.
Hello? Yeah, you may proceed. Just talk to us about, you know, what the community people can do on the part, like you've been saying.
The community view the situation because in my community, there are no even divisions. Before you get a division, you have to cast your minds. There is no police presence there. And then I approach the clan head. The need for the innovation of community policy. And then they bring in able young men who can at least do this job. So these women give them their posters. Some person at the end of the month, they go like even 500 as soon as the community. And you cannot enter my community today without having an address, without having a destination. The people must know you. Whose house are you going to? And where are you coming from?
But you know, Onoja. But you know, Onoja. If I may interject, you are talking about an ideal situation, right? You are talking about an ideal situation where a stranger comes into the community. He will need to identify himself to the, you know, the community, you know, leaders and the likes. But, you know, this is a peculiar situation where you have a stranger this time around that is not asking of your permission to come in. You have a stranger that comes in armed.
And don't also forget that these people have no option. Or at least as things look, it doesn't look like they have options.
There are options, but something there's an enticing position there. There's an option. If you get to the root of the stories, you see some of them are even promising something, some are giving some items. Are you aware?
You know that in that situation, rejecting whatever it is that is coming or appearing to be in disagreement with whatever message that they have brought, it means suicide. It means you, you know, putting yourself in a dangerous position. It means that you are considered a threat and is likely to be eliminated. So
it is better to be known to an enemy to be an enemy than to be pretending to be friends when the situation you know is dicey. You better tell them that we don't welcome this culture. Let the society face the heat of it at the moment and then save the larger society in the future. Than welcoming them, accepting them, and giving them what they shouldn't be given. Because at this moment, they will come to stay with them, marry one or two persons, they will have to intermarry, and that is
okay, Onoja. Okay, now.
That we cannot live without today.
Okay, now, Onoja, the information is out there. This group is in these particular communities, and this is what they are doing. What is government supposed to do at this point to rescue the people in that region and disseminate the group?
In place. They want to put modalities in place to change these SSCs. And you see, the reason I am saying that it will become difficult for government to identify who is who is because the people must have gone inside the society, inside the community, had a big building there, settle down, live with these people, and it becomes difficult for you to now identify who is who. But if the community have rejected their offer, and it becomes an exchange of cross battle, it becomes easier for you to identify the camp of the enemy and from the camp of victims.
All right. Okay.
So it is becoming difficult for government to identify because of the way and manner communities are abusing these people and unnecessarily giving them the information.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much,